So anyway, as I was saying, these guys, they couldn't understand why I was hanging up an American flag. And they weren't the only people that were trying to rip down my flags. And one time I did something outside of a grocery store with the DJ music there, and had some kids and they were DJing and whatever, and we had the flags up, and people would just randomly come up and start questioning me about the American flag and what my motive was, and trying to tell me to take it down. And I'm like, go do your own event. I'm doing this for the kids, right? School restoration, And so anyway, this fella here, he's been around for a long time. May 23rd, 2006, right? So. And it didn't take long to be able to easily go through this list. Obviously I didn't sit here and read every single thing that I was, passing by. But, in your own time, you can do that. And again, the mouse picks up, things that even if the title isn't completely there, you can still find it just with your mouse by hovering over it. And that's what I like. Rainbow Family, Christian Unite to Give Hope after Katrina. And again, I was on Black Planet with that. So, I know all about Katrina. I maybe wasn't there, but I was in the mix. And, I had my nonprofit. I sent my information down to Ray Nagin. A lot of the people down there that way got some information. Some pastors and all that, but, back in those days, they couldn't understand, this little Canadian girl sending him all this information that, maybe in those days my writing skills weren't as good as they are now. Not to say that they're, they're the best right now, because, there's always room for improvement. But anyway, biotech, chemical, biological, pharmaceutical weapons, cops, cameras, action. And this was May 1st, 2007. So.
Pennsylvania taxpayer, right? Okay. Now my taxes are being used for this, so I should be able to go in, right? Private company. Okay, so even though my tax dollars are being used, you're saying I can't go in. Okay. So can I get a reimbursement on my taxes on that part of it? Okay.
See, this is where we need to start taking this energy that's been out in the community forever and for so long, and we need to find a way to redirect it in such a way that it builds wealth for the collective, so that some of the issues that the people are, fighting for can be dealt with. And hopefully that would be a good pressure relief valve to reverse some of the things that are compounding to the point where, it's destroying a lot of lives. And of course education is a key factor. The more we can educate, like the last lady, in the other video was talking, get people reading, right? Not everybody likes to read, So we need to get more people reading, and reading in such a way that they're understanding what they're reading, and not to put them on guard, but to get them to participate and be a part of the solution, right? So as you can see, this person makes very good videos. Nothing like my videos, but, that's okay. I highly recommend visiting this channel when you get some time. So I don't know, this one is 3 years ago. Kids village attacked by police and National
Police
Rainbow
officers ran into the village to apprehend somebody, and
I don't know what this is.
I went down
I've never
there to
seen
see what
this
was
one.
going on first. I mean, of course, it's my radio's assistant in the United States.
See, this is why I think YouTube is
do their job and
doing
get
what
out
they're
there.
doing, because
Instead of declaring that there was a crime scene,
people
that
are
they
not
ran
going
into
to
someone,
have
they
the
got
patience
yelling and pulling out.
to go to the new pages, and even though they provide the playlist, it takes you off of the channel host page onto YouTube's channel page, where you're now having to look at other videos that has nothing to relate with what this person's trying to portray over a course of years, right? And
tactical format.
you know, this is not fabricated. This is not something that's like a play. You know, this is not a play. All right, this is real life, and there's consequences to this. So the people that are trying to control the engineering of, you know, the collective, so that a few can benefit, obviously would want to suppress this information, right? So the best way to suppress it is to make it hard to find. Sorry, I'm talking with my hand here now, so I'm starting to move. Is to you know, make it hard to find. You know, this. I'm seeing a pattern. You know, this is what, 2008, and we've got the police, where a bunch of people are, you know, obviously low income. I mean, not too many rich people in this camp, you can tell. You know, they're just, you know, basically educated to be able to do basic math, and, you know, you might have a few people in there that, you know, maybe a little higher education, right? But, you know, on average, it's just average everyday people falling through the cracks, because it's 2008. You know, we have welfare reform brought in 1999 with Bill Clinton, and you know, this is the ongoing accumulating effect of people not being able to, you know, qualify for health care, dentistry.
And they shot me straight in the back 4 times.
Let's listen.
And then I turned around and said,
It's kind of important, because to me, I see a pattern.
I'm trying to help you.
You know, I see a pattern. I see this going on in 2012. You know, this could be in a park today, right? Only now the people that are occupying the park tend to be, you know, you're getting into your post-secondary
From a cop.
educated class of individuals that can kind of see, you know, what their future holds for them if what we're looking at right now doesn't begin to reverse itself. Now, I don't know what these people were doing out there in the bush. Maybe they were homeless people, and they were just congregating together as safety in numbers and just trying to survive, you know. And if that was the case, that's where, you know, communities need to help assist these groups so that, you know, we can better provide basic living necessities to the human being.
You know, these cops brought it on themselves or something. I don't know. If these kids were actually seriously fucking aggressive, they would take all the LEOs out. Easily. I mean, without a second thought. I mean, but that's not anywhere close to what's going on.
I'm one of the bakers over at Kid Village, and helped brought in a lot of the equipment this year and take care of kids. And there was a circle going on, and only a couple of us were left inside the kitchen so we could get ready to serve the little kids and their moms and dads and folks a meal and share our food. When LEOs came running through our camp, pointing, and they're very sketchy. They're very high-strung, and we kept trying to make light of it and get them to relax a little bit and offer them something to eat. Hey, why don't you come eat? We share it with our kids, you know. It can't be so bad. Our kids eat it. And they went out of the camp, and we thought they were gone, and they had encircled and came back, and they tackled a man and grabbed him by his backpack and pulled him to the ground, and we didn't know what was going on or why they were there for them, and so they when they did it was right after we had our main circle where we all hold hands and pray for peace right before we eat, and they had all the little kids eat first at Kid Village, so they were first in line. They were right directly in front of the LEOs, and a couple adults got between the LEOs and the kids and told them all to get down, get down, get down, get down on your knees, and that way they wouldn't be a threat. You can't be a threat if you're on your knees, right? And we had our hands over our heads, and they opened fire, and they shot us in the back. They shot the guy next to me in the back a bunch of times. We're calming people down, and they would start shooting us in the back. I just couldn't figure out why they would try to start something like that. If there was anyone who started a riot, it was the one, not all four, but the one LEO who started opening fire amongst a bunch of little children. There is no place in the world, not one country, not one state, not one town that tolerates people shooting projectiles near their children. And it won't be tolerated, and I don't think America's going to tolerate it when it all shows, because they're
Yeah, but Americans forgotten about it.
stones,
That's the
and
thing.
I'll say there were stones picked up.
You know,
They're
if they
very,
haven't
very
forgot
angry.
about it,
And the people who were shot in the back, me, another brother,
they don't know about
two
it.
people who were arrested, were several of the people pulling sticks and rocks out of people's hands, even though we were shot in the back by the LEOs trying to protect them. Because if one person hurts one of them LEOs, it's no longer a peaceful assembly, and that violates all of our rights.
So I don't know, you know, who this group is and why, you know, the government would see them as a threat. You know, do they see them as a cult?
You know, if you're smoking pot and the LEOs come up on you, that's
Okay.
your own stupid fucking fault.
Drug on war?
I don't
You know,
what
war
to
on
say,
drugs,
but,
pot?
You know,
Like, come
that's
on.
the game you want to play. That's the consequences of playing that game.
Well, that's just
This
the
gattering's not
excuse.
about smoking pot and about taking drugs, and and that seems to be the big opinion and beef. And I've always tried to defend the police and the cops, and the local cops and the sheriffs were always dignable, you know, professional. It's these LEOs that are irresponsible. They've been entrusted to carry weapons and a badge, and then people, I don't know. I think people would be upset to know and see like how our government officials behave.
Watch your face.
And this is why I hang the American flag, because I hang it for the people, right? Not for politics, not for the government to profiteer off of and you know, manipulate and social engineer around my nonprofit. I hang it up for the children and for the people, right? I'm not around to stand there and judge and make judgment, because I have my own problems. And, you know, I believe that the human brain has the capability of learning right up until the end. So, you know, if there's a gap where we need to bring in some educational programs to help these people build better lives for themselves and their families and their children, then I don't see why we shouldn't be working on it in that way versus trying to do it this way.
And, you know, all this could have been stopped. You know, always approach an officer with an open mind and try to treat them like a human being until they shit on you, and then approach them legally and professionally, then, you know, don't let them, you know, try to shiv you into doing something that you don't want to do.
Well, I'll tell you, when I start working on my website, I'm going to come and I'm going to draw on this channel, and I'm going to import some of these videos onto my website, you know, to keep some of these issues in the forefront of, you know, we just can't sweep things under the rug. All right, on to the next channel. I'll be right back.